Hey girl, let's chat. If your Stripe says 20,000 a month, but your nervous system says don't talk to me, baby, you're not a CEO, you're a freelancer with a really cute brand. Most CEOs don't hold it together. They build something that actually holds them. I'm Rebecca, and I build what I call profit architecture, the operating system that takes female coaches and consultants from $20,000 a month to $100,000 a month without you becoming part of the customer support agent, the sales team, the marketing team, or the full service IT department all on your own. And if you're triggered already, it's probably good because we're probably a little bit closer to the truth. So here's what's happening right now in the coaching market. And I'm actually not sure why, but nobody's really wanting to say this out loud for some reason. Content is being commoditized, and AI can produce value 24/7 and does it pretty well. Buyers are skeptical. They've been burned, but they're also sophisticated, which is wonderful because they're smart, which I appreciate. And you probably do too. Lead costs are rising. So attention is getting more and more expensive at the ready. And the whole mentality of like, I'll just work harder strategy, it's aging. It's aging like milk. Let's say it that way. So if you're at 10,000 to 30,000 a month and you're standing in this fork in the road, and the one path is kind of like the era that's closing, that more hustle, more chaos, more burnout, mainly because your nervous system just can't take it anymore. You may even be daydreaming about a job or being an assistant someplace. The other path is systems, leverage, stability, and what a lot of people say as scale. And the difference here oftentimes doesn't look sexy, I have to say. Having systems or diving into systems doesn't sound like the blast that I've been dying to have. It's not that quick fix, it's not that dopamine trigger, right? And the reason most women don't cross the bridge is because they keep trying to scale a business that has no operating system. So let's get surgical about this because the $20,000 a month freelancer versus the $20,000 a month CEO look very different. There's a massive difference between those two areas, even though it has the same revenue. There are two completely different lives. So let's examine this. The 20,000 a month freelancer looks like every decision is routing through your brain. Every client feels urgent. Every launch feels like a full body event, and you're booked out, but you're not free. So if you take a week off, you're not resting. You're actually panicking. Your nervous system's like, wee. And so you don't have a business. You actually have a high paying job where your boss is actually your clients. So I know that we oftentimes call this freedom because we've left a either high drive or high stress corporate job. But baby, you can't unplug without revenue dropping, and that oftentimes is your recognition point. Okay, because that's not freedom. That's actually just a different cage. So a $20,000 a month CEO looks like the decisions are made by rules. Your team runs the day to day. Your client experience is consistent without you having to feel like you have to be on. And you spend time on leverage, on strategy, on systems, on partnerships, on offers, on optimization. That's actually the sexy stuff. And you can disappear for a week without your business actually collapsing. It might even get cleaner without you in it. So the difference is not your work ethic because women at 20,000 are some of the hardest working people on the internet, actually. The difference is simply infrastructure. Freelancers run on hustle and memory, and CEOs run on operating systems. And if that sounds really dramatic, I'm going to even make it more simple. Okay. So, what a business operating system actually is that, well, think about your phone. Your phone operates on an OS, and it's powerful because it has an OS, right? An operating system. Without that iOS, it's just expensive metal. It would be just like a little brick someplace. Okay. But a business operating system is the infrastructure that allows your business to function. It's like the templates of your apps on the screen. It contains it in its beautiful own boundaries. Okay. So when you're white knuckling every detail like a single mom on a trampoline, the cleanest model that I found forces you into a reality that actually simplifies things into three parts. One are the controls, two are the reserves, oh baby, and three are the dashboards. So I'm going to give you the metaphors and the business translation so we can actually dial into this space more specifically. So controls are documented systems where the levers are making the machine move. So in business, controls are like how you generate leads, without having to prey on the algorithm and posting and hoping somebody is going to reach back out to you. That's not what I mean. How you generate leads that are consistent, how you convert in a consistent space without improvising on every call or customizing everything, how clients get results without you over delivering things into resentment, how decisions are made without you having to spiral at 11 p.m. on your phone or stand in random places to communicate to your team in an emergent type of feeling space. So most $20,000 coaches have controls that look like, oh, I just kind of know how to do it, or I have my own system in my mind. Because when I ask for the system, they often will say, Rebecca, I don't actually have that written down. And that's cute, but that's also why delegation fails because you can't hand somebody vibes and call it training. So the reserves are actually what make you powerful. And the reserves are cash plus capacity. Now, I don't only say cash because cash reserves are sexy, but capacity reserves are also sexy because if one off month can wreck your mood, your relationship, your content, and your confidence, then you don't have any reserves. You have an absolute roller coaster. Reserves are like cash in the bank, time on the calendar, time where you can just kind of like walk around without being bothered, your team capacity, your operational slack so you can invest strategically, not emotionally. So a CEO can make a decision from a very calm, considered space. A freelancer makes a decision oftentimes from urgency or panic, and that urgency makes you cheap. That's the part that nobody actually wants to admit, and people feel that on the other side. You feel when that CEO energy is at a particular space where they're frantic and they are reactive, and it feels uncomfortable for everybody, not just yourself. Now, third, the dashboard. The dashboard is like your weekly Whoop data or your Aura ring, right? The feelings that you're having right now, or having a one-off bad call, or a client cancellation that happens, or a post that flops. It can make you feel like you're gaslighting yourself into a completely different world because you are thinking that that defines you. And right now, because it might be what your business is actually running on. So a dashboard says, don't worry, we're not doing story time, we're doing data. We're doing a data in a way where if you have metrics and you understand that these numbers are right here, then it produces a consistent result. If you don't have metrics, you're not scaling. And this is the differential of why I think the word scale is actually something that we're using kind of blindly right now. Everybody wants to scale, but they don't actually want to have any of the systems. And the systems produce the metrics, and the metrics are the piece that makes sure that you're not guessing anymore. So there are a couple of symptoms of not having an OS that might be helpful for you to be able to diagnose for yourself. So, for example, if you're wondering if you have an operation system or not, then I want you to kind of track yourself over the next couple of days in these 6 symptoms. So, my partner's a neurologist and he's kind of a nerd, and he's always like, you want to diagnose something, you don't want to just kind of guess at something. And I appreciate that. I think that's really important. So, let's discuss some of those symptoms. Decision fatigue is one of those symptoms. It means that you're probably making around 50 to 100 micro decisions a day, meaning your team might ask you a ton of questions. You might have to decide for those things or approve those things before anything actually moves. By 3 p.m., you're useless. And then you catch up at night like a raccoon in a pantry. That's not our vibe. Okay. The next symptom is constant firefighting. If your day is reactive, where a client messages and you drop everything, or a lead reschedules and it feels like you have to rearrange your whole life, you don't work on the business because you're drowning in it. And that might be something in and of itself that just speaks to you. Okay. Symptom number three is it's all in my head. If somebody asks you how you onboard a client and you have to explain it in a voice note, then there's probably 12 steps that you forgotten. And that's not leadership. That's a bottleneck inside of the system. Symptom four is if there's a feast and famine relationship in your world and you tell yourself it's a season when it's really because there's no machine. So one month is 25,000, then the next month is 12,000. Another symptom is vacation anxiety. So if you can't rest because you don't trust the business without you, and if the business falls apart while you leave, then you're the life support. And that's also a problem. Symptom number six, the last symptom, is that you're scaling dread, meaning you could sign on more clients, but you don't because you know it'll break you. You're exhausted, and that's the tell. Not, I need more leads. It's, I can't handle what's already on my plate. It's too much. So if you have three or more of these, I'm going to tell you it's not your marketing, it's your missing OS system. Now, I'm going to step in and show you how to install it without turning your life into a 90-day suffering ritual, because I think we've already suffered enough, right? So there's a 12 to 16 week install. It's not overnight, not new planner, new me. It's real infrastructure. It's a thought process that does adjust. So step one, I want you to build a dashboard. And this approximately takes like 1 to 3 weeks. You can't fix what you can't see. So I want you to think what lands on your dashboard. Um, One of the pieces that I would recommend is like weekly revenue collected, leads generated, number of calls booked, show rate, close rate, fulfillment hours, profit margin. And if you want to be petty about it, um, you don't track. Uh, then if you don't track, you don't get to complain. We're adults here, right? So I think that this is where you track every Friday, no exceptions, or every morning and every evening. And it's really interesting here because a lot of people will say, like, I don't want to track those things, or I'm not good at spreadsheets, or it gives me a headache, or blah, 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 blah. Listen, I am dyslexic, ADHD, and OCD. And if I can track my stuff, I have a feeling that you can probably track your things. Do it, Queen. It will bring you so much peace. Next, build reserves. Your goal is to have 3 months of operating expenses. How? You cut dead software subscriptions, which you know you have. You tighten delivery so you stop overgiving. You increase pricing and or adjust the packaging in the ways that it's being delivered. And you set a reserve rule where 20 to 30 of it gets parked before you actually pay yourself. This reserve creates calm, and calm creates strategy, and strategy creates scale. But you can't be operating in a one-to-one moment of everything. One-to-one hour of time, one-to-one money to delivery. That's just not going to feel good inside of your business. Now, phase three looks like you start installing controls. Now, this is where you document the machine. And there are three system lanes that first need to be placed. One, the acquisition system, two, the sales system, and three, the fulfillment system. And this is where you use a simple framework because you don't want to have a 40-page SOP fan fiction. I don't know about you, but like the way I look at this is I look at input, process, output, feedback. That's it. Simple. So for example, input, booked call, process, pre-call workflow, call structure, follow-up sequence, output, enrolled client or clear for next step, feedback, conversion rate, and objections log. And yes, this is where you can actually finally hire without it becoming babysitting. That's really, really important. Phase 4, optimize and scale. Once you have the controls, the reserves, and a dashboard, then your job becomes you find the bottleneck and you fix one thing. You measure and then you repeat. That's CEO work. No more like, I want to post this thing and hopefully it gets enough attention so that that client that I was eyeing up would remember me. Girl, that's not sexy. That is like thirsty behavior. And that's actually very costly. At the end of the day, that cost of inaction, and that's actually my next point. Let me be an anti for a second, because if you don't install an OS, here's what actually happens predictably. You plateau. Your 20 to $30,000 a month is often the ceiling of the chaos that you can handle, because you can't brute force it, but you also can't scale it. Or you burn out because your body will eventually refuse to fund your business with all of its cortisol. And the cruel part is you won't even be able to sell the business because the business is you. Or you get out competed. Someone in your niche is building infrastructure right now, and they will deliver better, faster, more consistently, stronger while you're improvising in the DMs. And the next era of coaching and consulting is that proof plus process wins. They don't want vibes and personality. They want a system to keep their progression into a direction that they actually need. Personality gets attention, sure, but a system keeps clients. So here's the recap. Most 20,000 a month coaches or consultants are glorified freelancers. They're running a business on memory, hustle, and honestly, anxiety. A real CEO has an operating system, baby. Those controls, those reserves, those dashboards, that's sexy. So if you're dealing with decision fatigue or this feast and famine, vacation anxiety, or scaling dread, this is why. The fix isn't more content. The fix is actually installing the infrastructure. So if you're a female coach or consultant at that 10 to 30K month range, and you're realizing like, man, I've been carrying this whole thing in my nervous system, there's a link below to book a call, and I'd love to chat with you. I'm not like into weird like sales theater that the marketing bros are into, like oh, this price is changing in the next 24 hours, or we really don't have any space. I don't do any of that. We are all about just communication, learning about your business, and seeing if we're actually a really good fit or not. But at the same time, what I really want to know about is which symptom hit you the hardest. Was it the decision fatigue? Was it the firefighting? Was it the vacation anxiety? And if you want more content where women are understanding that they're done with being busy and ready to be powerful, then I'd love to feel that recognition. Subscribe, like, comment. I love you. I mean it. Build the machine. I'll see you in the next one.